We're going to be talking about our friends over at Google because they have released a new developer knowledge API, which allows coding assistants to directly access the latest Google documentation. What, you mean I don't have to Google for it? The new API provides programmatic access to Google documentation rather than relying on the version that was available when the model was originally trained. Does this mean that we're going to see more APIs to provide assistance to assistants doing things so that they have the most current documentation?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Sweet.
And it's awesome. This is the right application of the MCP standard, the standard for allowing one AI tool to gather data out of some other tool, whether it's another AI or in this case, it's a set of documentation. This is absolutely awesome. As background, you're probably aware that large language models take a lot of compute power and a lot of time to build, and they only know about what was in their training data at the time that they were built. So if I'm using a large language model that was built 6 months ago, that's great for working with enterprise software where there probably hasn't been a new version in the last 6 months. So it knows maybe my old version of maybe on premises installed Word, but cloud services are constantly updating. That's why software companies love delivering things as a software as a service because they can always have the latest, most secure, most up to date version running. And that means that there's a newer version than when your large language model was trained. So your coding assistant is not aware of the changes. This ability to link your coding assistant to Google's canonical source of truth of what the current state of all of their services and the way you interact with them. This is awesome. And we will see more of this. We will see this same kind of capabilities turning up for anywhere that we need to have our code integrate with something that updates reasonably frequently. Myself, I do a bit of embedded development, so working with microcontrollers and having access to the latest information about both the libraries that work with my microcontrollers, but also having my AI coding assistant able to directly access the documentation for the specific microcontroller I'm using now. That will be really beneficial to me. It's one of the reasons I'm looking at using some sort of AI coding assistant, maybe for some of my embedded projects. But it doesn't just have to be documentation. It can also be around the capabilities of every other microservice within your organization. You could have the segregation where the tool that is being used to develop one microservice doesn't read the source code of all of the other microservices. It just has access to an interface to the documentation of their interfaces. Um, if you're building microservices to talk to one another, each microservice should treat the other one like a black box. It shouldn't know what's going on inside it. It should only know what the API is to access. So again, this kind of programmatic access for your AI assistant to know the interfaces, the capabilities that it should interact with is something we will see more and more of. And it will significantly help to make these AI coding assistants better. Whether they're good now or great now, we've had some interesting reports. We've had some great reports about improvements in AI coding assistants over the last 2 years since we've been looking at this kind of space. So they're there, they're creating code, and hopefully tools like these MCP servers to provide access to up-to-date information are going to improve the quality of that code over time.